What's going on, everybody? It's Webster Style and Brian Saff from the NRW Checkpoint and the maybe not hardest working director in Hollywood, but definitely probably the biggest money bag director in Hollywood with the
In the
most number
bag,
one
though.
films ever. James Cameron is back with Avatar: The Way of the Water. Now, we talked about the first trailer dropped about a month or two ago, but they have come back and blessed us with a brand new full trailer, and we are going to check it out right now.
They really advertising this movie, and I appreciate it.
I wanted to do well. I just don't
I
know.
do too. And this water, like,
This is beautiful. I can't even get it
yeah,
right.
like,
This is gorgeous.
absolutely.
Let me tell you, just even seeing this and with some of
I
the
know you think I'm crazy,
complaints we've had about Marvel CGI over the
but I
past
feel her.
year or so,
Right.
like this is so lifelike and so realistic, it's ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
hear her heartbeat.
Which I want to understand because
She's so close.
Avatar is underneath the Disney umbrella. Why are they not sharing it technically with Marvel to make sure we all have a great viewing
So what does her
experience?
heartbeat sound like?
Well, Disney also owns ILM, so there is no reason that we should have some of the issues we had with
Like,
CGI and special effects with Marvel's recent films. But from a technical ability standpoint, I put it that way.
And then you also like think about it. It's been a lot of time awaiting the Avatar movie, whereas Marvel they pumping these things out like
We cannot let you bring your
This is just
war here.
gorgeous.
Outcast. That's all they see.
I see you.
The way of water connects all things. Before your birth
yeah, this
and after
if
your death.
nothing else, I will be going to the theaters to see this in
This is our
IMAX one day.
home!
This
I
is a
need you.
presentation of this movie.
Mhm.
And I need you to be strong. Strong heart.
Okay, this is beautiful.
It is.
This whole trailer, except for like there was one little part when they were underwater and they had the mechanical crab looking thing, like that CGI wasn't as good as the rest of the whole trailer. But this is my problem with Avatar. And I want to be like, I want to feel it. I don't care about any of these characters. It has been since 2009
Right.
since I saw this movie. There is nothing in the society since then that has made me want to reconnect with these characters
Mm.
and this world. The beauty of Avatar for me was the experience of
Mm.
seeing this beautiful 3D movie and feeling like I was totally immersed in it. And even since then, I have gone. I've been fortunate enough to go to Disney World and ride the Avatar rides there, and they were great. The world of Pandora is the draw
Right.
as a whole, but the characters are why I want to sit and watch a 2+ hour movie.
Yeah.
If I see this trailer, I'm like, I could care about Sam and whomever the Navi girl, and they have kids and the set of, and maybe that's just me. Like I'm literally like right now, like the TV is like three different segments of Avatar from YouTube are literally staring me in my face. Nothing's calling to me to say I want to see this movie, except the fact that the first one was such an experience.
Mm.
And I'm a little upset about that because I want to connect to these characters. I want to be like, oh, I remember this scene. I remember that scene. Oh, I felt this, that I want to see these characters again. Like, for instance, Clerks 4 or was it Clerks 3 just came out.
Mhm.
I I know those characters from Clerks 1 and Clerks 2, even though it's been 16 years since Clerks 2.
Mm.
I remember that movie. I remember those characters. I remember connecting with those characters. There's no connection or caring about the characters in Avatar. I remember the movie. I remember the events. I remember what happened. I remember the experience. I remember the world. But there's nothing about the characters say, hey, I want to see what they're up to. Because
Mm.
that's just me. This is
No, I
beautiful. And this would
yeah.
be a great movie experience. And that's what Avatar is to me. It is a movie. It is why you go to the movies.
Hmm.
But for me, it's sad that that's where it stops at. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care about Avatar outside of that movie going experience. And I'm looking at all these movies here that are sitting here under this TV, and I'm thinking of all these movies I've watched over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that I can quote line by line.
Mm.
Avatar is so beautiful and it's such a beautiful movie experience. I want that for Avatar. It just doesn't do it for me in that regard.
And I could see that. I could definitely, the way you just stated it, I definitely could see exactly what you're saying because the characters, they aren't, super memorable. I mean, you know them because the movie did extremely well. Disney's doing a great job at monetizing it, with merch and the rides and all that stuff like that.
Mhm.
So you know the actual story. Well, you know the characters just based on the fact they're being presented so often.
Right,
That's fine. I think though, with what you're saying, um, if more people feel that way, which I wouldn't be surprised if they do, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I don't see people like be with as much money as Avatar made, the first movie. I feel like the fanfare should be a lot bigger around it. Like, but then at the same time, being that this is a new thing or whatever, I feel like because of what you said, there's a unique opportunity presented to really say, okay, well, the characters aren't that gripping or whatever, but the world is. So let's showcase more of the world and maybe
right,
because the characters are not that like compelling, they're not something that you gravitate towards, that does leave room for different characters to come in and for them to branch the story out in different ways. So if the goal of James Cameron and everybody else involved with Avatar, if the goal is to really build a world, then they're doing a good job because they're not making sure that we're so attached to these characters that if they decide to go left with the story, that we're like, oh, well, what happened to X, Y, and Z? It's like we can go left
right.
and be like, okay, those characters are on one side of the planet, now we're on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Don't
And it
know.
picks up like
Oh,
I
sorry.
was saying, it picks up like a decade later after the first movie too, which
Okay.
is appropriate considering it's like a decade since the since the first movie
Right.
as it is.
Right. Which kind of
So
lends to what I'm saying. If they're really trying to build a world that's like, parallel to ours and there's way more to it than just that one or those few characters that we got to know in the first one, then they are doing a good job, I guess. But it's
right.
like, I don't know. I need to see the world. I need to see the actual universe of Avatar shape out more before I'm understanding like what it is they're trying to do with this story.
Yeah, I agree. But I will say this, and I don't want to take anybody listening as like, oh, I'm not going to say it because I probably am, uh,
I'm going to see it.
because it's a beautiful movie, and
Yeah.
this is a movie of why we go to the movies,
Yes.
and much like you were saying earlier, it is uniquely positioned as such when nothing else is going to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
That is the
Because when is
one
it?
benefit. It's Christmas time. I don't think it's exactly Christmas, maybe like a week or two before Christmas. But
Okay.
there are no major releases
Yeah, just a
coming
bunch
out like
of
that.
Christmas stuff.
Right. And I think that for a movie going experience, for something that you literally can take the whole family to, that everybody can get something out of. And also as well, and I think and this is maybe something that we get a lot more character development
Hmm.
in this movie. Because one of the things that James Cameron movies you think of the characters. As much as I detest Titanic, I remember those characters. I remember those scenes. We think of Terminator 2. We
Mhm.
think of True Lies. We think of what was his other like big movie? I forget the other number one movie he had. But we think all these James Cameron movies, we remember these characters and what they went through, not so much of the spectacle of the movie. And I'm hoping, especially since they're also going to be in Avatar 3 and 4, that we get a lot of the character building, character development, and also us as film goers being able to really empathize with these characters, connect with these characters. Because I don't think that, considering the first movie was such an experience in 3D and everything, I don't know if one, a good job was done of telling that story. Because honestly, let's be frank, Avatar's story is nothing new.
Yeah, it's Pocahontas.
Right, right. It's really, and it, again, there's no detriment to that. I mean, that's not a slighting it, but it's
No,
nothing
yeah.
new. So it wasn't saying it was anything that like people couldn't understand. It, but I also say it wasn't a lot of depth to it either because of
Mhm.
that. But now with being able to expand that world, to add new characters, to have a time gap where we've seen these characters who we didn't connect with really, but now we see them grow and have become more mature, and we see I forget Sam Worthington's character's name, but now he's been in his Navi body for over a decade now after previously being a
True.
human in his wheelchair. You know, who is he? What is he? That is something I'm interested about as far as
Yeah,
his character is concerned.
yes, absolutely.
So, yeah. Anything else before we end off this reaction, Brian?
Um, well, you said something earlier that kind of caught my attention with because you mentioned James Cameron's other movies
Hmm.
and how you kind of remember those characters. I think that's also might be something that Avatar is. I don't want to say suffering from because they're making money. I just think to your point, I feel like what's happening or what's about to happen with Avatar is because our brains just have been trained to like hone in on diversity. And we're looking at all of these people that are blue. It's really hard to get attached to them because they all look the same.
Thank you. I was just thinking the exact same thing as you were talking. It sounds kind of racist, but they all look alike. It's
Yeah,
just
I
some are
mean, but
female, some are
no,
male. You don't get
that's the
time to really
truth.
differentiate between each of the characters because the story is moving so fast. You're caught up in the spectacle, and
Right.
they all look alike.
Yeah.
It sounds
I
so
think I
weird
think
saying that.
it is. It feels weird to say that. It really does. But I mean, it's the truth. And then it kind of lends to the one thing that black people are always pointing out, which is we're not a monolith. Like we all have our
Right,
own different stories and walks of life. We all look different, even though we, vary in the same type of shades. Either way, I think that's where it is. That's where it's becoming hard to connect because this world that we're in, we focus so much on our differences that it's hard to like look at a bunch of characters who all look the same, all come from the same,
hmm,
background or whatever, and really gravitate towards a character and be like, oh, I'm interested in this person's story. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out
yeah,
though. I feel like James Cameron might be I feel like just the whole Avatar team in general, they might be like trying to say something by doing that, but at the end of the day, like that's really what it is. It's hard to get attached to a bunch of characters that all look the same and share the same life experiences and stuff like that. It's not until the bad guy comes in that's like, oh, we're gonna colonize this place that the movie turns into a different direction, and we're like, okay,
right,
antagonists over here are blue, antagonists are humans,
right,
and I guess we'll see what happens in Avatar 2, but
right.
I don't know. I'm interested. I want to go to the movies and watch it and
Yes,
get the whole 3D IMAX experience, see all the fish floating at my face and stuff. I'm gonna be tuned in for the actual presentation of the movie. And like you said, the spectacle behind it, going to the
right.
movies, having something to talk about. But yeah, as far as the storyline is concerned, like we're running a course of everybody is the same person and there's not very much character development because there's
Right.
not much for them to develop. This is a new planet and they all look the same and have the same
Exactly.
life. But I'm interested either way. Like,
Yep.
you're gonna get my money,
Same.
and it is what it is.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So that's our take on Avatar: The Way of Water. The long one, convoluted one, but end of the day, we're going to go see it.
Yes, that definitely. I'm gonna be in the water with him now.
Yes, we are. And remember, you're with Nerds Rule the World. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the NRW, on Instagram at New Release Wednesday. And of course, you're currently on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
For water.
Wow.